So if you take a purely inland or Delhi-centric view, there are large parts of the country that simply get left out. There's of course inland parts of the country that also get left out, like for example the northeast of India, which has a very rich history. But talking about the coastal part of India, you barely ever hear about, for example, the great voyages the Odia mariners did in ancient times. You never hear about one of the great ports in the world, Muchiri or Muziris, which was famous enough that it's there in Roman texts, in Persian texts. You very rarely hear about great characters like the queens of Ullal, Abakka Rani and her daughter and granddaughter. You don't hear about Martanda Varma, who defeated the Dutch East India Company at the height of its power. And these were very important characters. As I said, Martanda Varma, for example, had a great influence on world history, because from that point onwards, the Dutch East India Company went into decline and made space for the English East India Company. So these are very important parts of our history, and we simply ignore it. And of course, we also ignore the enormous influence we had in the rest of the world. I live in Singapore. The name Singapore itself is Singhapura, which means lion city in Sanskrit. Go throughout Indonesia, you will see enormous influence of India. You go to Cambodia, the world's largest Hindu temple is not in India but in Cambodia, Angkor Wat, and so on. And it is a history of which the people of that part of the world are very proud of. They in many ways consider themselves a part of Indian civilization. And yet we do not tend to even think about these ancient and linkages which are still alive in many, many ways. It is our loss, and in some ways, not talking about the Pallavas or the Odia or about Travancore as part of our history is almost like talking about European history without reference to Athens or Venice or Portugal or England or the Vikings or any of these other maritime powers that defined their history.